Really quickly, before this video starts, I want to say that the topic of this video can be upsetting to some viewers. This roleplay contains depictions of animal death, injury, and poisoning, as well as scenes that can be read as abuse that can be triggering to some viewers. There are timestamps on the screen that tell you where to skip if you want to avoid this scene. Otherwise, please enjoy roleplaying with an evil mentor. Frecklepaw sat next to Meltpaw, admiration in their eyes as they looked up to Macawstar. Do you think today is the day? Frecklepaw leaned over to Meltpaw, whiskers flicking as she spoke.
Maybe. Either way, I am excited. He meowed at Frecklepaw.
Frecklepaw nodded, entirely ignoring the new deputy being chosen. Obviously their priorities were on becoming an apprentice. As well as this new change in leadership, the clan's progress in developing skilled warriors continues. Frecklepaw stepped forward. Yes! Frecklepaw cheered to themselves as they sat next to Meltpaw. You have reached the day of your 6th moon, and it's time for you to become apprentices.
He would get excited, his heart jumping.
Meltpaw, from this day onward, until you earn your warrior names, you'll be known as Frecklepaw and Meltpaw. Brambletuft, he continued. Oh boy. The Tom visibly flinched at the call of his name. I trust you will be able to pass on your skills to young Meltpaw, he dipped his head.
His ears flicked at the mention of that name, eyes tracking the other warrior.
Frecklepaw's eyes flicked over to the Dark Warrior, curious.
When his name was called, he looked up, dipping his head. Yes, Macawstar.
May your trainings go well, and may StarClan assist in your journey, he nodded to the new apprentices. Frecklepaw hopped cheerily onto their paws and right up to Slatemane.
He lowered his head to gently touch noses with his small apprentice. His eyes seemed slightly worried, but immediately the expression vanished.
Frecklepaw bonked their nose clumsily against Slatemane's, giving off a purr of excitement.
This would be his first apprentice, and Slatemane would make sure that Frecklepaw would become a great warrior.
Can we train alongside Meltpaw and Brambletuft? Frecklepaw appeared hopeful, unaware of any tension on the air. Brambletuft didn't add anything after that, glancing Slatemane's way, clearly waiting for the other warrior's input.
His ears flicked at that request, and he refused to look over. As is customary, let's get a look around the territory first, he said.
Okay, Frecklepaw lifted her head, not disappointed by the response. It was reasonable, she felt. We'll walk the same path, Brambletuft grumbled, chiming in as he glanced to Slatemane. We might as well do it together.
His tail lashed briefly before he dismissively nodded. Follow, all of you. It was best not to cause a scene, not here.
Frecklepaw followed with a skip in their step. Frecklepaw stood tall, the grass nearly taller than them.
Wow, look at the grass. Melt was somehow fascinated.
What's over that hill over there? I hear water. Frecklepaw tilted their head.
Here's where we hunt rabbits and other prey, he added.
He let his apprentice take in what Slatemane had to say before adding himself. Over the edge is the gorge. Frecklepaw's eyes shined at Brambletuft's answer, clearly looking past Slatemane to do so.
Let's take a look so you know how dangerous it can be. Frecklepaw, stay behind, he advised. We can look, but I don't want you to fall.
Okay. Frecklepaw's tail swept over their ankles as they waited.
The rushing got louder as they closed in.
Whoa! The rushing water reflected in the young cat's eyes. This is it?
He had to raise his voice to be audible. This is the gorge! You don't want to get distracted when hunting, and fall in here!
Frecklepaw nodded, first standing on end despite being in awe of the sight.
Behind the waterfall is the bridge that leads to into River Clan territory, he said, then turned away from the cliff. There in the distance you can see the barn. He nodded forward, past a couple sparse trees ahead of them.
Frecklepaw squinted to see the shape of the two-leg structure.
Over there in the far distance you can see the high stones. They harbor the mother mouth in which the moonstone rests. He nodded. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, she nodded. Do you think Weeping Paw has been to the moonstone already? Frecklepaw looked over. He'd only been a medicine cat apprentice for a few moons.
I'm not sure. As far as I know, Owlburst should have taken him there at the half-moon gathering.
That's so cool, Frecklepaw murmured.
Okay, stay close, he murmured, the roaring of monsters already audible.
Frecklepaw stepped to the side, nearly brushing against Slatemane.
That sound and that smell, he explained. It's called the Thunder Path. Monsters roam on it. You're never, ever allowed to go near it.
Why not? Frecklepaw stepped forward slightly, just to see it a bit better, trying to find the danger.
Stop! He suddenly roared, stepping in front of the apprentice. You need to listen to me. It is dangerous. Never, listen to me, never will you get near it.
Okay, fine, they squeaked, shooting a glance at Meltpaw warily to see if they'd seen that.
He glared at Brambletuft. Cats get killed on the Thunderpath.
Brumbletuft stopped, glancing over his shoulder to meet Slatemane's gaze. He hesitated for a moment. I never said they didn't.
I'm gonna walk away. Purposefully.
He would glance at Frecklepaw.
He let out a deep sigh, padding towards the last location for the day. Alright, let's get wrapped up. Down in that hollow is where we gather and meet the other clans on a full moon, he said, his anger seemingly vanished completely.
I bet Weeping Paw has been there too. Frecklepaw looked over at Slatemane. When's the next gathering?
The last gathering was only a few nights ago, so it won't be for another moon, he said apologetically.
I'm sure I'll be ready then, they nodded optimistically.
The sun is setting soon, he said, nodding. Let's get back to camp. We made it through the entire territory in one day. I'm sure you're tired. He nodded. Make sure you get something to eat and then rest. Tomorrow, I want to teach you how to hunt.
Okay. Frecklepaw stopped cleaning for a moment to reply, looking around camp in search of Meltpaw or Weeping Paw. Owlburst? Frecklepaw piped.
Weeping Paw heard Frecklepaw and lit up.
Are you busy? Frecklepaw padded up a bit towards Weeping Paw.
Albert was testing me on my herb knowledge, Weeping Paw replied. But I got all of them right, he said proudly.
Nice! Frecklepaw lifted her head. I got to see the territory today. We covered all of it in one day. I must be really good at walking.
I hope you're good at walking, Weeping Paw joked. I would need you as my herb gatherer when you become a warrior.
I'd do it even if I was terrible at it, Frecklepaw snorted, looking up to see the sun had set. I'll see you tomorrow.
He looked up through the medicine den ceiling. It is getting late. Good night, Frecklepaw. Weeping Paw gave a smile.
Frecklepaw dipped her head before padding out quickly, heading towards the apprentice den. Hi, Frecklepaw whispered as they settled in next to Meltpaw. There were so many apprentices.
He would hear Frecklepaw. Oh, hi. He was surprised they sat next to him.
It's very crammed, Frecklepaw complained, though their tone was still kind. I'll be hunting tomorrow with Slatemane, Frecklepaw added as they put their head down. Frecklepaw saw the light seep into the apprentice den. She sat up and stretched. It was weird to be in this den instead of the nursery. Slatemane.
Bright and early, Slatemane padded over to the apprentice den. Frecklepaw, it's time for training. He gestured towards the entrance. I hope you rested well, he purred gently.
Yeah, Frecklepaw eventually replied, distracted by the moor.
Open your mouth, take in all the scents. Tell me what you can smell, he instructed.
Frecklepaw parted their maw, tasting the air. This part of the territory is more humid because of the waterfall, she said, closing her eyes to try and get more detail. Lots of rabbits, but there's other prey too, just not as many.
Close your eyes, he said gently. Can you smell the clan cat?
Lots of cats, they added. Patrols haven't been sent yet.
He dipped his head in approval. Very good. Now, the first and most important lesson to remember when hunting on the moor is that you need to be aware of the wind, he started explaining. If you have the wind in your back, the prey smells you before you even get the chance to smell it. He looked down to them. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, Frecklepaw nodded. It's like sneaking up on a kit in the nursery.
He chuckled softly. Except there's no wind in the nursery. He tilted his head. Why don't we try to find some prey now?
Sure, Frecklepaw squeaked, standing.
Can you tell me what direction the wind is coming from? He asked, eyes glinting in the sunlight.
Since it's so humid today, I want to assume the wind is blowing from the direction of the gorge. It's blowing the mist towards us.
He nodded. That's right. This means we need to go towards the barn for prey today. There, he mumbled, nodding towards the rabbit. Stay low until the last moment, he explained.
Frecklepaw's pupils widened as they crouched down, firmly planting their paws against their earth. They started to slowly creep forward.
Slowly, he advised.
They continued, but at the last moment slipped off the dew in the grass, hitting the ground next to the rabbit. Frecklepaw shook the loose grass off her pelt. Sorry.
His whiskers flicked. A good attempt. he noted, looking at the apprentice. Your tail was lashing. He then said, tilting his head. And you were too focused on the rabbit, that's why you slipped.
They nodded, the scent of another rabbit wafting over them.
Watch me, he mumbled.
Nice.
With a clean leap, he pinned the rabbit and swiftly killed it.
Their eyes were wide. That was amazing.
Sometimes it's more important to be careful than to be quick. He nodded at them. Your attempt was very good for the first day.
Could I take that rabbit to Meltpaw?
His ear flicked. Elders, queens, and kits need to be fed before everyone else, he reminded them. Once they have eaten, you and Meltpaw can have your share.
She nodded, slightly disappointed. She wanted Meltpaw to have that one. Okay.
He returned to camp with her. Maybe you can see if one of the elders wants this.
Skunk Shade? Mouse Step? Frecklepaw pushed their way into the den. She turned her attention to the young cat. Could either of you go for a rabbit? Their tail flicked. A rabbit would be amazing right now. I could, but would you prefer it, Mouse Step? There's enough for you to share. Frecklepaw placed it down between the two elders. Enjoy it. I can wait a while longer, but I am thirsty. I can get you some moss with water, Frecklepaw offered. Thank you, she'd meow. Are you busy?
Just a bit. I gotta put herbs away.
Weeping Paw.
Weeping Paw's ears perked excitedly, seeing his friend. Hi, Frecklepaw.
Skunkstrap wanted some water. Could I have some moss? They spoke with a purr.
Weeping Paw turned around to look for moss. You know how to gather water with the moss, right?
Yeah, Frecklepaw blinked, but I wouldn't mind if you showed me again.
Weeping Paw turned around, nodding. He flicked his toe to point attention to the nearby medicine den water. It's fairly easy, he started. You just gently dab the moss against the water and it soaks it up. Just don't try to get too much water or it might become too soggy. Weeping Paw jokes before demonstrating. He passed the moss to Frecklepaw. I guess you don't have to water it since I just did it for you, he chuckled.
I suppose not. Frecklepaw gave Weeping Paw a friendly nod before taking the water to the elder. Frecklepaw padded into the den, placing the moss simply next to Skunk and leaving it as to not interrupt. It's EP time. Did you learn anything cool today?
Well, I mean, not really, he said.
I took a tumble trying to hunt a rabbit, Frecklepaw snorted. You should have seen it.
He would chuckle. I pinned my mentor down. It was fun.
Wow, Frecklepaw's eyes lit up. I think we're doing battle training tomorrow. All we did today was hunt. How do you feel about your mentor? Frecklepaw stretched out a bit. Everyone seems to look at him weird.
Well, there's something, he replied.
Something you know? Frecklepaw prodded.
It's just... I can't explain it, but it's a weird feeling.
Yeah, Frecklepaw nodded. It'll be okay. I'm sure cats just have opinions.
What about your mentor? He changed the tables to Frecklepaw.
Frecklepaw saw the sky start to lighten. Had they been talking all night? He seems rough, but I've only seen him be nice so far. She sat up to clean her pelt.
Wow, did the sun come up already? He was shocked and tired.
I'll see you later. Frecklepaw tiredly padded out of the den.
He glanced at Frecklepaw. You seem... He tilted his head. Rough.
That's rude, Frecklepaw teased, trying to seem awake.
He huffed. Find Meltpaw and Brambletuft. We're training together today, he said.
Okay. Hey. Slatemane said we're all training together today.
Really? He was super excited.
I think so. Through his silence, Brambletuft managed to catch on to every other word his clanmates were muttering. Let's go before it gets too late.
He waited patiently until the three of them arrived. Let's get going. I want to teach them the basics of combat today.
Lose your tense, Bramble. It'll be okay. He assured it.
He He sat, ready to explain. Firstly, it's important to keep tabs on your opponent's most important weapons.
Don't lose sight of them, he chimed in, or they get the upper hand.
He bared his teeth. The fangs. He then unsheathed his claws. And claws.
You're supposed to practice without claws? He stood, ready to demonstrate if needed. The buff Tom got to a quick crouch, just like how he had shown to Meltpaw.
He would watch closely.
He glanced at Frecklepaw. Yes. He then sheathed his claws. I was demonstrating the deadliness of a warrior's weapons.
You won't use your claws for this exercise, he told them both.
Make sure you don't ever leave yourself exposed to an attack by teeth or claws. He closed in on Brambletuft. A cat will go for your legs or your neck. He pointed a paw in the areas on Brambletuft, without actually touching him.
Brambletuft remained still, eyes focused on Slightmane's frame. He involuntarily flexes his muscles, claws unsheathing for a moment as he does so, a silent warning.
Keeping intense eye contact with the other warrior, gesturing for him to stand. Stand up. I want to demonstrate how easily balance can be tripped.
Why me? Were you going to ask my permission first? Brambletuft scoffed, but obeyed anyway.
You want the apprentices to learn best they can, don't you? He returned, his eyes squinting slightly.
His lips parted back in a mix of a sneer and a smile. Of course, go on and do it then.
Watch, he advised the two apprentices, before acting as he spoke. First you swipe. He lifted a paw to swipe from the right, but then in the last moment spun around and swept the legs out from under Brambletuft.
He let out a sharp huff, the air catching from his lungs for a moment before he quickly composed himself, hopping swiftly back onto his paws, and back into a crouch, as if readying for another attack. The move was clearly unexpected. Slightmane had gotten fast. Once back up to his paws, Brambletuft shook the dirt and seeds that clung to his thick fur.
Slightmane had no intentions to follow up. Catching your enemy by surprise is your biggest tool.
Frecklepaw listened, eyes focused on the two, though she was half asleep. Don't let them pin you, he added in. Whatever you do, it will always give them an upper hand. He sat again, his eyes focused on Slightmane this time. Are they ready? He muttered lowly to him.
He nodded at the addition of the other warrior. Bite their legs, tail, or neck if you get the chance.
Brambletuft's eyes remained pinned on Slightmane up until the point where the Grey Warrior sat, then he drew his attention back to the two apprentices.
I want you two to fight. Keep your claws sheathed, and don't bite with force, he advised.
Frecklepaw lowered their posture, tail sweeping and stirring up the sand.
He would make the first attack by running to them and trying to pounce on them.
Frecklepaw slipped to the side, barely missing Meltpaw's force as the other apprentice landed where Frecklepaw had been standing.
He watched in silence, noting every movement the apprentices made.
They reared up and shoved their front paws against Meltpaw's side, trying to push them off balance.
He would almost get pushed off balance, but managed to get out of the way instead.
Frecklepaw snapped her jaws at Meltpaw in a playful taunt. She hopped forward, batting the apprentice's face with sheathed claws.
He would get hit and backed up a bit. He would pounce on Frecklepaw unknowingly.
Slightmane was laser focused on the fight. He was waiting for Frecklepaw to finally use her speed for something.
Frecklepaw felt their legs buckle under them. They tried to roll to bat at Meltpaw, but just ended up exposing her belly and falling onto her back.
I win! Yeah, took this as a victory.
Squinting, his fur stood up. Kick his stomach, he growled.
Frecklepaw hesitated, but shoved her back paws into Meltpaw's belly harshly.
Follow up, he ordered her. Bite his ear.
What? No, that would hurt. Ow! He was pushed back.
Frecklepaw hopped onto Clumsy Paws, darting over and nipping at the apprentice's ear with hesitant temperament.
Hey, that's not funny, he meowed.
He snapped his jaws together, almost as if trying to animate her to bite harder.
Dodge, don't let them get close until you collect your bearings, he shouted his own advice, now that Slightmane was so blatantly giving his. Instead of biting harder, Frecklepaw just pulled on Meltpaw's ear, essentially chewing on him.
He would use force to let go.
Brambletuft felt himself relax a bit, the fluffed up fur along his back lay flat again. Maybe he had nothing to worry about. Frecklepaw didn't seem to be out to win it like Slightmane was.
He scoffed. All right. He seemed disappointed.
Frecklepaw yawned, shaking the sand from her fur.
That was a nice fight. He was unsure about the whole fight.
Good job, Meltpaw, Brambletuft praised. I'd say you did well.
Thank you. I am the best, he said jokingly.
He looked at Frecklepaw. I want to speak with you. He completely disregarded the other Toms.
She shot a glance at Meltpaw before following.
He laid his gaze on her. You were distracted, he said. Why?
I didn't sleep well, Frecklepaw shifted. Meltpaw was worried about Brambletuft.
His eyes squinted more. Getting a little roughed up is part of a warrior's life, he scoffed. You need to give it your all, or you will never be a strong warrior.
Sorry, she looked down. It's hard to want to hurt a clanmate.
You need to remember that a fight can happen at any time, he reminded them. For both you and Meltpaw, he shook his head. With sheathed claws, the damage you'll do is manageable.
Yes, Slatemane, Frecklepaw nodded, longing for her nest.
I want you to practice your speed. You're nimble. The first dodge you did was good, he sneered. It was about the only part of that fight that was worth being remembered.
Frecklepaw nodded. I need to use that more then. It was clear she was having a hard time focusing on the conversation.
Now rest up, he dismissed her. You're no use if you can't keep your eyes open.
Frecklepaw lay down in the nest, falling asleep within moments.
He would get up out of the nest and sneak out of camp.
They were long asleep. Frecklepaw stirred. Meltpaw wasn't in the nest. Did he even come to sleep that night? She was too tired to remember. Meltpaw? She called to the half-empty clearing. Any trace of him was stale. Brambletuft! He yawned, but quickly shot up at the call of his name. I couldn't find Meltpaw. He wasn't in his nest last night. What? He blinked. Brambletuft's gaze became blank, distant, but just for a split second before it was masked. We need to find him! He's probably just out trying to hunt, he snickered. Alright, I'm coming, Kit. He followed the youngster down into camp. I smelt him here. Are you able to track where he went? Brambletuft got down to the ground to catch the apprentice's scent, re-cementing it in his mind. Yeah, it's not too faint. He left midnight, it seems. Let's go, then. Great, Brambletuft grumbled. He's going to be exhausted for training today. Brambletuft followed the scent towards 4 trees before it stopped and took a sharp turn left. Brambletuft felt his paw pads prickle with the telltale signs of anxiety before following them down. Oh! The warrior's body, once held tall and confident mere moments ago, slumped down until it looked like he could barely hold himself up anymore. Frecklepaw threw any sense of danger away as she bolted next to Meltpaw's body. Brambletuft! She wailed. What's wrong with him? A desperate twitching grin made its way to his muzzle. Meltpaw, hey Meltpaw, don't do this to me. No Star Clan, this is twisted. So twisted it can't be true. Meltpaw. The calling of his apprentice's name grew firmer with every step he took. Meltpaw, get up! Brambletuft crouched down beside his limp body. Brambletuft? She looked weakly up at the warrior. He was supposed to know what to do. He let out a sharp gasp as the realization came downing down on him hard. There was no life in Meltpaw's body anymore. His fur had grown cold. Frecklepaw, Brambletuft addressed in an unreadable tone. Frecklepaw placed her nose against Meltpaw's frame, hoping he'd bounce back, but he didn't. He got to his paws, turning away from the scene, clearly unable to bear it any longer. What do we do? We'll bring him back, okay? The twisted smile was still on his face. Back home, to our clan. Back home, they repeated. They slipped under the mangled apprentice and lifted him. It was upsetting how easy it was to do. Frecklepaw shoved her way through the crowd, roughly dropping Meltpaw's body in the clearing. He moved forward to the front of the crowd, not bothering to wash his paws, which was now stained with stale blood at this point. He's gone, Frecklepaw's voice wavered. How? What happened? He turned to Brambletuft. Oh, this had to be a joke. It's too good not to be. His meow came in hushed, shaky whispers. He dipped down to touch his nose in Meltpaw's back. How am I supposed to know? He suddenly screeched at the question. Frecklepaw stepped back, afraid. Brambletuft looked about ready to pounce on the leader, but by some miracle he held himself back. He scowled. You will lower your tone, Brambletuft, he snapped. Who was with Frecklepaw when the body was found? I was, Brambletuft replied, with another shout, showing his bared fangs. Then explain, he growled. You must know something. Starklet above, no one was mentioned where it was found. Frecklepaw barely even noticed Slatemane behind them.
His eyes were pinned on the mangled body. You lost another apprentice, Brambletuft.
The words rang in Frecklepaw's ears. They couldn't make sense of it, not with the scene in front of them.
Come on, he animated his apprentice, nudging them with his shoulder. It won't do you any good to see this any longer.
Frecklepaw flinched when touched. They simply walked away, stepping carefully between the gathered cats to a more isolated space.
This tragedy wouldn't have happened if Meltpaw abided by the code. Distractions get you killed. He shook his head.
I should have seen him leave. Slightmane's words only buffed her insecurity. If I hadn't been, I would have seen.
He didn't deny her statement, only lowered his head in silent agreement.
Frecklepaw dipped their head, breaking away from Slightmane in search of actual comfort. They caught the shape of Weeping Paw above, quickly scrambling to meet him.
Frecklepaw, He paused, looking towards the clearing. I saw Meltpaw, he mumbled, trying not to think of the image of his fallen friend.
I'm sorry. Frecklepaw leaned fully against Weeping Paw. I was tired and confused. I didn't even notice he left the den last night.
It wasn't your fault with what happened to Meltpaw, Weeping Paw assured, allowing Frecklepaw to rest against him. You aren't responsible for if he went out by himself. He spoke formally, not knowing how else to speak.
You need anything, Frecklepaw? She asked politely. Weeping Paw's words rolled over them. It didn't even seem like she heard. She flinched when the warrior spoke. No, thank you. If you need anything, just let me know. I'm always free to talk if needed, she said with a soft voice. Legacy gave a chirping noise as a greeting to Frecklepaw before dropping the flower for Frecklepaw as a comfort type of thing. That's okay, she said to everyone, before dismissing herself from the group. It was too much. She intertwined Legacy's flower into the edge Meltpaw slept against. She'd never touched that part of the nest again. Frecklepaw lay with her head on the edge of the nest. She wasn't sure how much time had passed, or if it was the next day. All she knew is that she could hear Slate calling her from outside.
Frecklepaw, he requested. Let's go. Staying in your nest isn't going to make you a warrior. It seemed a little harsh, but Slightmane said it like it was no deal at all.
Quick warning, parts of the following scene include physical abuse towards an apprentice, which could be upsetting to some people. Skip to 30 minutes in the video to skip this entirely. Frecklepaw let out a small noise in agreement before following.
You need to be able to hold your ground, he said. Fighting to protect the clan is a warrior's most sacred duty, he said, turning towards her.
Frecklepaw could feel the weakness in her limbs as she positioned herself in front of him.
Countering an attack and seeing the opening after a swipe is a very crucial skill. Without warning, he lunged forward, smacking her on the head with his paw.
Frecklepaw nearly fell forward from the large warrior's blow, backing up with an instinctual hiss before forcing themselves to calm. Okay.
His eyes narrowed. Use your speed, he challenged, swiping forward again. He kept his attack simple, yet landing a blow would push them back quite a bit. Slightmane was a powerhouse of a warrior after all.
Frecklepaw let herself get shoved a few times before jumping over one of the blows, letting out a growl and jumping onto Slightmane's back to throw him off balance and stop the battering.
He growled and added a, "Good!" he hissed, before rolling over onto his back, threatening to simply crush her under his weight. "Stay moving!" he snapped an order.
Frecklepaw quickly slid out from what was nearly under Slightmane, turning on her paws to face him quickly.
A commending look on his face was the only recognition she got before he pounced forward again. He wanted her to feel rushed, panicked, maybe even scared. That would teach them how to handle a real fight.
Frecklepaw looked up in horror as the large cat leapt at her. She wasn't able to react. She unnaturally froze in the face of the attack. She felt the air get knocked out of her as she hit the ground hard.
Pressing the apprentice down, he sneered, "You're never gonna be a good warrior if you freeze in the face of danger."
I can't. Frecklepaw let out a cough as the air re-entered her lungs. She was going to say she couldn't get Meltpaw's body out of her mind. It was useless for him to know.
"Get your head out of the mud," he scoffed. "Distraction gets you killed." He stared her down, mercilessly.
Frecklepaw felt anger prick at her pelt, but not a single valid argument came from her. She reared up, accidentally unsheathing her claws and raking them down Slightmane's face in anguish.
He hissed, clearly taken aback from that. "That!" he started, feeling a small trickle of blood purling down his nose. "That was good." He dipped his head.
Frecklepaw panted, barely processing what she did to gain his praise. She felt the warmth leave the sky as the sun started to set behind them.
"Let's get back to camp," he nodded.
Frecklepaw followed quietly. Frecklepaw didn't bother to clean the sand off their pelt as they padded to the apprentice den and slid into their nest. It had been a few moons since Meltpaw had died. Frecklepaw wasn't sure how many. The days were blurring into each other, but she did know it was still difficult to sleep through the night. Frecklepaw wanted to sleep under the stars tonight. Maybe it would help her feel closer to Meltpaw. Rubbing the sleep from her eyes, she swore she could see her mentor padding out of camp. She cautiously followed.
Once he closed in, he realized who it was, Brambletuft. A good mentor would give his life for his apprentice. He had 2 chances to do that, and he failed both of them.
He stood still, staring across the thunder path at the lingering thought of how nice it was. Frecklepaw hid in the brush. Why were both of them out so late?
The dark thoughts resurfaced. This was the cat that killed his brother.
He couldn't say goodbye to Meltpaw then, but maybe he could now.
If StarClan let this cat live, he wouldn't stand for it. Matter had to be in his own paws now. Creeping closer, rage filled him.
Frecklepaw forced herself to stay quiet and watch. Brambletuft breathed a low sigh, unaware of the cat that was creeping in behind him. It was a nice night.
With anger taking over, he pounced onto the other Tom, grabbing him by the scruff of the neck. He would pay tonight.
Brambletuft only had enough time to widen his eyes before the pain set in, sharp and persistent. His legs went numb first, sending him falling hard onto his belly. Is this what Meltpaw felt? Frecklepaw used a paw to force their maw shut as the scene unfolded in front of them, uninterrupted. He couldn't welcome it, nor could he fight back. His claws dug deep into the soil below, but he made no move to shake the tomcat off of his back.
The warrior's neck was much bigger, and therefore this would be a lot messier, but Slatemane didn't care. You deserve the same fate as Colepaw, he growled lowly, making sure that he knew this was revenge for his brother.
Brambletuft could only gasp out in an attempt to speak. His airway quickly cut off. Not that he had anything to say, anyway. Maybe Slatemane was right. Maybe he did.
With his maw full of fur, he raked his claws across Brambletuft's throat. He wanted this warrior's death to be painful.
His brow shot up high, the searing heat spreading from his throat throughout his body. As the adrenaline flooded his blood, his paws flung out beneath him, a desperate attempt to fight back at the last moment, but it was too late. He fell limp to his side, body quivering with shock. He gurgled and coughed, wide eyes staring up at Slatemane as the life drained from his eyes.
Making sure Brambletuft was still conscious, he began dragging the warrior to the thunderpath. Was he scared? Was he scared as you are right now? He hissed, his words trembling with blinding rage.
Frecklepaw let out a terrible shriek as soon as he was too far to hear her.
He dropped the body right in the middle of the monster's path. This is what you deserve, Brambletuft.
They ran back to camp, silenced by fear. Frecklepaw sat in silence, eyes glossed over. Images of what they saw were replaying behind that blank gaze of hers.
Frecklepaw? He mewed to his friend.
Frecklepaw didn't even flinch. There was no movement aside from a subtle shake under her fur and dulled breathing.
Weepingpaw padded closer, pressing his muzzle against Frecklepaw's pelt. Frecklepaw?
Brambletuft is dead, Frecklepaw muttered near silently.
What? Weepingpaw backed up to meet Frecklepaw's tired gaze. Brambletuft?
Frecklepaw swallowed dryly. I'll take you.
Weepingpaw didn't speak, hesitating to follow before padding away with his friend. Darkland, Weepingpaw exclaimed quietly, slowly walking towards the body stuck to the thunderpath.
Frecklepaw didn't dare to go closer.
Weepingpaw hesitated to take a step onto the dangerous path, and ultimately decided not to. He could already see the wounds covering the warrior's body.
Frecklepaw put her head on his shoulder, but said nothing.
Weepingpaw held in tears, before finally speaking. How did you find him?
I saw it happen, she simply mumbled. Their eyes glanced over at the approaching patrol.
Weepingpaw rested his head. Let's go back to camp. We can talk in the medicine den. The warriors can handle it from here, he assured. Weepingpaw sat in silence thinking. He turned to Frecklepaw, her face filled with dread. Weepingpaw didn't want to speak and bother his friend, but he had questions he wanted answers to. What did you see?
Slatemane killed him. Eventually the words came out. Maybe revenge for not paying attention closely enough to Meltpaw, but he mentioned a cat by the name of Colepaw before dragging him to the Thunderpath.
Weeping Paw had a look of confusion. Slatemane killed Brambletuft? Coldpaw? He thought to himself, not knowing the mentioned apprentice.
He's gonna kill me. Frecklepaw's voice was nothing more than a shaky whisper.
The words shocked Weeping Paw. He didn't want to believe that a warrior would kill their own apprentice, but he trusted the word of his friend.
There's no way I can act like I didn't see something like that. I don't want to be in his way.
Thoughts of Meltpaw's death came to him. Were they connected? He brushed those thoughts off as Frecklepaw spoke. You aren't safe, Weeping Paw said bluntly. I know a way we can stop him. He looked away.
We can't, she spat. If we tell Makastar, he will know. I can't train with him again, and I can't go out there and see him waiting for me. They could feel themselves starting to panic.
I know a different way to stop him. A way he can't hurt you or any other cat again. Weeping Paw remembered his recent training on identifying poisonous herbs.
Frecklepaw looked away, again. Will he die?
Weeping Paw didn't reply, but his nervous body language already gave away the answer. Slatemane had to die, for the safety of Frecklepaw.
Frecklepaw's judgment was clouded by the mercilessness she saw in Slatemane as he murdered Brambletuft. Come to me when you find what you need to pull this off.
I trust you are a good hunter, Weeping Paw half-joked. I need a rabbit. Join the next hunting patrol, or try and catch one yourself if we don't have one.
Frecklepaw nodded, padding out of the den after hearing what she needed to hear. Frecklepaw's gaze flicked between each cat before finding the familiar gray-colored cat. Hey.
He looked up at the she-cat. Yes? He asked. He seemed so unbothered, and his gaze must have sent chills down Frecklepaw's spine.
I'm gonna hunt for a bit, to get out of camp after everything. They tried to be casual.
His tail flicked. All right. You're old enough to look out for yourself. He agreed.
They nodded, padding away without any formal goodbye. She got the rabbit. It had been killed to kill Slatemane. A soul for a soul, she assumed.
Weeping Paw snapped out of his thoughts as he saw Frecklepaw pad in.
She set the rabbit down, using a careful claw to create a slot under its fur that Weeping Paw could use for the herbs.
Weeping Paw approached the rabbit, taking 2 full red berries into the rabbit. He remembered his mentor's words. Just one of these berries is enough to kill a warrior. We call them death berries.
Once Weeping Paw seemed done, Frecklepaw picked up the hair, carefully only grabbing it by the scruff and not biting into it. Thank you.
He padded over, knowing she had entered a while ago. Did you catch that, the Weeping Paw?
For a moment, Frecklepaw was horrified they'd been caught, but Slatemane's calm tone washed over her. It felt cold. Weeping Paw ate, actually. You can have it.
He purred with approval. I was going to have your warrior test be catching a rabbit. Seems like you're well prepared. He took the rabbit to eat it outside.
Frecklepaw gave a wary glance to Weeping Paw before following at a distance.
Weeping Paw stood behind Frecklepaw, wanting to be with his friend to support her.
He took the rabbit to the clearing, ready to dig in.
She watched from the shelter of the bush, Weeping Paw behind her.
After a couple bites, he relaxed, until suddenly a sharp, painful sting raked down his throat. He licked his maw, trying to get rid of the warm feeling that spread across his neck. A cough stifled out of his maw. What was this?
Something is bothering him, Frecklepaw noted. She felt anxiety well in her.
Weeping Paw looked away, not wanting to see the warrior eat the poisoned rabbit, until Sleepmate started to cough and choked. He looked at the scene.
Was the rabbit not fresh? He felt himself a wretch, but nothing came. What? He mumbled, worse. Stumbling, he tried to stand up to get back to the medicine den. When he turned, he saw them. What? What is happening?
Frecklepaw winced, seeing their mentor collapse. They were unable to lie to him, not in this state. Deathberries.
His eyes focused on Frecklepaw. Why? He choked, his entire body trembling. He could feel how his limbs grew number.
Weeping Paw looked at Slate Mane, his eyes full of horror, but knew that the warrior deserved this.
A dry laugh came from him as he tried to stand but failed. I did it for you! He retched again, the burning seeming to melt through his neck. They had to die! Maniac gleamed in his gaze.
They? Frecklepaw echoed. Slate Mane, what did you do?
Meltpaw, a distraction. Like Dreampaw was to Coldpaw. He chuckled, clearly losing it. Brambletuft. He killed him. He needed to die.
Frecklepaw had a hard time understanding, but it was clear Slate Mane had killed Meltpaw, something Frecklepaw had wasted moons blaming themselves for.
He reached a paw to Frecklepaw. Promise, you'll be great, like I always wanted you to be.
Frecklepaw hopped back in a near full-body recoil, flashing a begging look at Macostar to do something.
His eyes unfocused as his last breath crept out of his throat.
She wasn't sure what would come of this. Did they know? Did they know she did this? Her plea at Macostar was one searching for mercy. And perhaps it was the right choice, he mewed, sparing only a light glance of assurance at the young apprentices. Meltpaw and Brambletuft have been avenged. Such a thing deserves gratitude, respect. Frecklepaw, you did this. Frecklepaw looked horrified. Silence! He whipped around with a snap, frustrated at the constant jeering. He then turned around, watching Freckle, seeing what they would say. I did. Frecklepaw shuddered. I saw him kill Brambletuft. He didn't know I followed him. Then, you have done this clan a great service, he turned once more. This young apprentice has destroyed the murderer within our clan, the evil spreading. Frecklepaw, step forward to me, he mewed, quieter. They hesitated. You have given us hope, shown us the strength that can prevail through dark times. I call upon StarClan, upon Meltpaw, Brambletuft, and all others who fell to this wicked cat's claws to join us in spirit and look upon this young savior. You have certainly earned yourself a place amongst history. From this day onward, you'll be known as Frecklefrond, as a sign of your dedication, sacrifice, and great loss you have known. The moonlight fell on Slate Mane's gray pelt, cloaking it in silver. Was this regret that she felt? Thank you, she stuttered. No, thank you, he meowed. Their eyes glanced at the gathered cats, chanting the new name. It uncomfortably rang in their ears. Bury him, please. They patted away from the attention. Frecklefrond carefully unwove the wilted flower from the apprentice nest, picking it up in their maw. They carefully made it part of the new nest, her warrior nest. Forever, she mumbled, lying down.